Good afternoon. Rule for the afternoon session. Nobody sleeps. If you sleep, please do not snore. Because your snoring may disturb the neighbor who is also sleeping. Okay, jokes apart. Let's start the afternoon session with a session spilled over from the morning session. It is on the temple economy. India's temple economy is a significant contributor to the country's economic landscape, estimated to be worth $40 billion annually, equivalent to 2.32% of our GDP. This economy is fueled by donations, tourism, and various purchases associated with religious practices such as flowers, oil, lamps, and such other items used in all rituals. Temples also hold substantial amount of gold, an estimate of 22,000 tons, worth potentially up to $2 trillion at the given price of gold today. This contributes indirectly to India's economic security with suggestions that leveraging temple gold reserves could further boost the national economy. Temple and religious tourism sector is massive. Domestic religious travel 3,023 crore year. Moreover, temples and pilgrimage centers support large-scale employment with estimates indicating to about 35 crore people are employed directly or indirectly through these religious sites, a figure much larger than the employment provided by the government sector. Religious sector thus also supports ancillary industries such as transportation, hospitality, and local handicrafts. Hence, we feel MSME and startups can increase their share in the temple economy by newer ideas and the help of technology. That thought resulted into the session coming up now. How can MSME empower temple economy? And the speaker is Girish Kulkarni, the founder of Temple Connect. I request Sri S.S. Nayak, Girish to please come and occupy a seat on the dais, and I request all of you to give him a round of applause. No, I'll give you a hand mic. Or you want a collar mic? I'm okay using this also. I'll use this. I'll just introduce it in a minute. Girish Kulkarni isn't just changing game, he is redefining it. With Temple Connect, he is bridging the gap between the ancient spiritual practices and cutting-edge technology. It's about making connections that empower and inspire. His mission revolves around revolutionizing temple management globally, enhancing not just operations but the entire spiritual experience. Through initiatives like Smart Temple Mission and the International Temple Convention and Expo, he is setting new standards. He is driving sustainability, improving access, and fostering global communities around spiritual hubs. Over to Girish to show us the huge opportunity waiting for all of us as an MSMEs. Over to Girish.
Thank you for this wonderful introduction. And it's a very tedious task on me to keep you all up and awake. So I am going to start with this session where it's one of the most important things for our nation and the part that we come from. And it's important for us to understand that how we usually look at this part from a single track. So when we look at temples primarily, there are two parts to the temples. In temples, one part is all about dharma, karmakand, vidhi-vidhan, pujan, and initiatives which are dharmic or related to the Vedas and the patterns that we've been living together with. The other side, which is extremely important, is the side of administration, operations, management and maintenance of the temples. When we usually go to the temples, there are three most important things that we remember. And I'm sure you'll all agree to it. When we go to a temple, one of the most important things that we remember is the Dev, Devi or the Guru Sthan that we are visiting. The second most important thing that we remember is the Pujari or the Pandit who's going to give you prasad and give you blessings on behalf of the temple. And the ultimate important thing that we remember is the jugaad that we want to do to enter the temple quickly and come out of the temple quickly. If we do not have that jugaad, we are already not focusing on the god or the goddess, but we are only thinking about andar kaise jaye, bahar kaise aaye. And that's what we all remember. But there are so many areas of activities, friends, which the temple economy closely works. The temple economy closely works on a pattern which is sustainability, donations, procurement, events, cultural initiatives, copyrights and intellectual properties, and more. Now, when we look at a temple economy, ideally we feel that this is something which is happening by the by. There is safety, security, surveillance, disaster planning management, sustainability happening on its own. It's not actually the case study. There are companies like the MSMEs and more who are closely working towards making this entire journey a successful one. How many of you all actually visit temples? How many of you all visit temples? A lot number of us. So to acknowledge that, we can all wake you up by saying, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Jai Shri Ram. So that means good morning in our language. So apparently when we look at these temples and these economies, we do not remember the kind of traction and the transaction which happens at the temple. So I was giving this example of a Hanumanji Mandir at Connaught Place in Delhi. So when there is this Hanumanji Mandir at Connaught Place in Delhi or any part of the country, on a typical Tuesday, there are about 10,000 people who walk down to that temple. Now, can we imagine the kind of traction that happens along only in the mithai shop? Imagine there are 10,000 people going to the temple and 25% of them altogether give on an average 1 kg of laddu is offered to the Bhagwanji, and then that laddu is taken home and celebrated as prasad. So 25% is 2,500 into 1 kg on an average is those many. It's about 2,500 kgs of laddu prasad being bought from that temple at the rate of 300-400 rupees per kg and more. Is that a small number? When we talk about security guards, hospitality, cleanliness, hygiene, mobile toilets, wheelchair access, and variety of these things. There are companies around software to technology solutions to variety of CCTV cameras, surveillance, and multiple other things who largely work in that scenario, which we call as the Smart Temple Mission. What is the Smart Temple Mission? We have heard of the Smart City, and I'm sure the government is doing its best to improvise the Smart City initiative. The Smart Temples mission is all about making temples much more smarter. We look at solutions that are created as electronic e-rickshaws in cities like Vrindavan and Ayodhya Ji and Kashi. Have you seen e-rickshaws in your life? So do you know how many e-rickshaws are there in the country today? To the tune of about 9.5 lakh e-rickshaws are on street. I was fortunate to lead the Ayodhya Ram Mandir launch at Ayodhya, and whatever you could see here, from a beautification to management to execution of the Ayodhya Ram Mandir, we were the agency closely working along with others to make this happen. On an average in a day, when people are coming to Ayodhya, do you know the number of e-rickshaws which are existing in? So the total number of e-rickshaws on road are about 9.5 lakh, of which, any wild guess, how many of them are in UP alone? Yeah, I mean, too optimistic, but yeah. About 4.5 lakh rickshaws are alone in Uttar Pradesh, 15,000 odd in Varanasi, 30,000 in Kashi, and about 18,000 in Ayodhya Ji in a short span from now. Do you know an average amount of revenue that comes out of an e-rickshaw? Transactionally, how much does an e-rickshaw guy earn in a day? So I asked someone that, भैया कितना कमा लेते हो दिन भर में? तो भैया कुछ नहीं, 2,500 से 3,000 रुपया कमा लेते हैं. तो I thought he is giving me a segment of एक दिन में 2,500 से 3,000. बोलते नहीं सर, shift wise. सवेरे मैं चलाता हूँ, दोपहर को मेरा भाई चलाता है, शाम को वापस मैं चलाता हूँ. 2,500-3,000 रुपये एक दिन में हम कमा लेते हैं. Imagine the numbers that we're talking about. Guys, this is an industry which doesn't get into recession. When you are in your sad days, you go there. When you are in your wow days, you again go there to celebrate, right? So when we look at all these economies, when we look at these patterns and the initiatives that we work together with, the temple economy is something which is extremely, extremely there, happening and working in our interest. A lot of us come through backgrounds of technology, finance, wealth, gold, silver, transaction, trade. When you look at a temple, primarily, you look at an aspect where there are three most important things in the temple economy. One, for any temple, अभी आप सोचो 10,000 लोग into 10 रुपया दिन का. I'm sure a lot of us will think अरे यार अपना profession change कर लेते हैं. तो आइडिया ये है कि ये प्रोफेशन पिछले 21 साल से आई हैव बीन वर्किंग इन द स्पेस ऑफ temples for a very long time. We've been able to connect around 11,106 temples in 58 countries in the past 21 years. Not only connect by documenting the data and improvising that area, but also keeping it available for all of us to see the Dev Darshan or the interface on your mobile phones to your various platforms. What is the idea here? The idea is not only creating an avenue for revenue and transaction, but actually getting all the temple economy and people under one roof. Temples have been the place where it has been place of worship by default. It has been place of education. It has been place of transaction. Udupi, one of the strongest sthans in our state, in Karnataka. Few banks have come from Udupi, where they are all temple towns. When we talk about temples, they are also places of, in earlier times, places of solving problems. They were solving problems. So if there are family disputes, if there are issues and so on. But so it's one of the most unorganized, organized sector for a very long time. Have we been able to take maximum traction around it? We've not. We all want to go to temples. We all have agendas. We all have deals with the God that you and I visit. मुझे ये दिलवा दो, मैं 1 किलो लड्डू चढ़ा दूंगा से लेके 10% पार्टनरशिप कर दूंगा. Everything happens in our life. But that deal is between you and your God. No one can get into the journey of your negotiations with you and your God. But primarily it exists. When all these things are existing, there is something called as transaction and traction. We have people from the banking segment here. Trust me, the kind of effort they have to take to get the amount of monies, accounts, gold, silver, deposit at their end is one of the most tricky things to do. But is it not a big market? Earlier, when you used to go to these stores and shops outside the temples and the economy, you used to carry cash and have the threat of my money getting lost or I losing my wallet or something like that. Today, everything is on a QR outside the temple. I went to Shirdi Sansthan about 4-5 months back, and I was carrying my mobile, but usually others are not permitted to carry mobile. I was there to see the CEO, and there is a sthan at the Shirdi Sansthan where they sell the shawl or the shawl which has been offered at the temple to the god by people, to the temple there. They sell that, and it is a revenue earning procedure. So मैंने बोला कि यार मेरा QR code यहाँ range पे नहीं चल रहा है, but why don't you help me by transacting using the QR code? So they said, sir, everyone cannot come inside with a mobile phone. You are the privileged one, you are here with your mobile. But now there are systems where ATM machines and other devices are now getting placed inside the temples. When we look at creating this, because it's all about creating an initiative where synergies are in the interest of the common man, the families who are coming in there. There are topics like queue management. Everyone, it is important. How many temples have you gone to and someone has come to you saying that क्या आपको wheelchair access चाहिए? Only 2 or 3% temples in this nation you would see the wheelchair access facility given to you. So primarily, when we look at all these initiatives, about 2006-2007, I created an initiative which was called the International Temples Convention and Expo. The International Temples Convention and Expo proudly is grateful to the Saraswat Chamber sp- who's, who's not only guiding us, helping us in this initiative, but also complementing by involving people from this community at a larger level to improvise this industry. This industry is all about service. This industry is all about good karma. At the same time, the convention which happens every year, last year it happened at Tirupati, happened at Kashi, where 790 temples, CEOs participated like this. Everyone was head of the temple. 1,500 people discussing matters related to temples, matter related to legal, matter related to land, matter related to systems, procurement, prasad and variety. There was an unfortunate experience we all went through some time back related to Tirupati and the Laddu Prasad related stuff. They have done a brilliant job now to overcome the scenario. But the idea is, why do we have to wait for trauma to come for us to resolve that problem? I was speaking to someone some time back on the space of IPR and a legal firm some time back, where the idea is temples don't understand that their ignorance can be someone else's bliss. There are brands, there are IPs, there are initiatives, which all of us, there are people serving that kind of an audience. So my honest confession to you, it's an industry with a 5.5 lakh crore interface. Your services are needed in that industry. It's just that you don't approach that industry. Why is that you don't approach that industry? Because like Temple Connect, there is no one else holding your hand. We are not trying to solve a common man's problem directly. I give this example to people. When we say, when my daughter was about 3 years old and she wanted Kellogg's cornflakes, she used to make a demand to her father or mother, and the parent used to buy it for them, and the consumer used to be the child. Similarly, when you look at a temple economy, the demand is, or the need is, by the devotee or the pilgrim who's coming there. And the temple management are the people whose job is like a structure to buy it up for better quality and standardizations of the temples. So when we look at this, there is a humongous amount of opportunity for all of us. There are so many of us who are already creating brilliant initiatives. There is someone amongst us from the Saraswat chamber had given him an award last year for creating software into temple management. We have someone else who's into creation of statistics and land planning for land owned by temples and so on and so forth. Guys, we need to understand one thing for sure. We all need better standards. We usually go abroad, we see good roads, we see good infrastructure, we see good setups. And when we come back, we say, yaar, apne paas nahi hai. But apne paas hone ke liye hum log kya kar rahe hain? What is that? You go to a temple once in your life or once in a year and say, yaar, yahan pe to ye galat hai, wahan se to wo galat hai. But what are the value adds that we are trying to create to see to it that wo galtiyan sudhar sakein? We at Temple Connect, we've created temple management course. We launched it with Mumbai University, Pune University and Wellinkar Institute. We are also speaking to this university for launching temple management courses. There are more edutech initiatives here who would want to align with our intent to put that temple content to people. Please take that step further. Convention which is happening in Tirupati is involving about 1,600 temples across 58 countries who would be participating. Urge the Saraswat chamber, and I request you, Siddharthji, to make it a point that it becomes a brilliant initiative for the chamber, for the participants, as well as we not only do this job of serving commercial culture here, but we do something where we complement the journey of empowering devotion by doing good karma with the right dharma and executing it with the right interest for the benefit of the common man. With that note, if there is anything that you would want to reach out to, we are falling behind schedule and behind time. So I am not getting into Q&As and other sessions here. I was given 30 minutes. I tried to complete it much before that so that the time which needs to be managed for more important sessions can be balanced. Temple management is not my job alone. It's our job. If we expect the solution and courtesy at temples, all of us need to participate. With that note, I thank you all. I thank the Saraswat Chamber, Anirudhji, as well as the venue, the Manipal Academy for bringing up a brilliant event like this. And thank you once again. Har Har Mahadev.
Thank you very much, Girish. I'm sure with the blessings of the Almighty and the knowledge what you've given us, or the spark you've kindled, will definitely increase the MSME value, MSME's contribution or business in the temple economy. I request Siddharth Sinkar, the founder director of Saraswat Chambers, to felicitate Girish for a wonderful presentation.
Good afternoon, friends. I hope this has been very informative session. Even though it's a post-lunch session, and I know that some people are still having lunch outside. But the purpose of keeping this session is, when I started my initial remarks, I just mentioned that a chamber of commerce like us is here. We are not discussing on the transactional gains which happen to all of us during the course of business. This chamber or platform's idea is to give us a vision and show us the directions as to where we can grow, because ultimately growth is life. So this is an opportunity which we, majority of MSMEs amongst us, we may not have thought on a serious note. But when we listen to the presentation by Girish today, everybody wants to be part of this opportunity. So can I ask people who wants to be part of this opportunity, who wants to do business with various temples and all the, so it's majority of us, correct? So Girish ji has, under Temple Connect, he has organized a mega event in the month of February in Tirupati, and where he is inviting our entrepreneurs to be part of it, where majority of the temple CEOs, as he mentioned, last time there were about 800 CEOs of all temples had come across 56 states and 1500 temples, whatever. But the thing is, participating or connecting with the key personnel, key management personnel from the temples. So would you be all guys interested in doing that? Certainly. So thank you, Girish ji. Thanks for coming. And the announcement in this regard will make very soon. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Girish, once again for that wonderful presentation and showing us a different way to look at business opportunities. With conclusion of this session, my job as MC ends. This is CA MN Pai signing off, the director of Saraswat Chamber. See you around to network during the day till we leave this hall after dinner. Thank you.